Hello, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. I have an exciting lunch with Alsace chat today. So I'm going to go ahead and pin a comment and then we will bring on our guests. I hope everyone is having a great start of the week. It's a little warm here, but it's all right. I still am not ready for the cold weather, even though all of the pumpkin spice flavored everything is already out. I saw candy in the grocery store yesterday. Everyone ready for Halloween? Hello, everyone. Ooh, Trill Wine Wife is here. Hello. All right, let me just post this comment. I don't know if we're pinning anything anymore. There we go. Oh, way too early for pumpkin. You know it. You know it. It's a little windy here, so I hope. Hey, girlfriend. You guys are awesome. All right, so let's pick up our guest. See if he's going to come join us. That's it. Let's do this. Oh, et voila. Hello.
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 What a beautiful day you have as well. Fantastic.
Yeah. It's a very nice day. I'm so happy because the weather is really thrilling us at the moment. Tomorrow probably we have some
Fantastic.
rain, so today it's really beautiful.
Beautiful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. This was a quick jump on, so I'm excited. I haven't been doing lives for some time. We just started up again at Sommation last week. So I'm kind of, putting back the wheels on. So welcome everybody. We are having our special Lunch with Alsace chat. I'm absolutely honored to bring back to this series and promote Alsace as a region. And today I will be chatting with Nicolas Haeffelin of Helfrich Family Wines. Nicolas is an experienced oenologist whose first passion is Alsace. He has spent time in New Zealand. Oh, we lost him, so maybe we can grab him again, but that's okay. I'll keep going. So he has spent time in New Zealand as an assistant winemaker and also worked with Antoine Rodet in Burgundy as part of his training. Nicolas and his father, Jean Remini, managed a few estates in the area and developed stunning wines from the legendary terroir in Alsace. The Haeffelin family, Nicolas and his father, are quite unique in Alsace in that it's the only family that has had a wine grower or a wine grape in every single generation since 1560. So now that I've given this great explanation, I'm going to go see if I can get him back here again. Sometimes Instagram does funny things, and there he is back.
Yeah, finally back.
Welcome back. So we kept going. I told everyone who you are.
Yeah,
Everyone's very excited about it.
I did hear what you said. Thanks
That's
a lot for thanks a lot for the introduction.
my
It's
pleasure.
always it's always a bit strange.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. Well, so everyone knows, Nicolas, this is the first for an IG live chat for you. So, we'll bear with any complications that pop up. But since we're all here and since we have such beautiful days, yes, Stephanie, it is an amazing view. So thank you for coming to us from the vineyard site. But we're excited to be back with Lunch with Alsace. We're excited to be here with Nicolas. So Nicolas, for those who are a bit novice to the region or are here to learn a little bit more, could you please give us a few main points about the region, like how big is it, or where is it, or what's
Of
going
course,
on there?
of course. So as you see, I have some vineyard on my back. So of course, this is this is a region which is a bit unique in France. It's not big, Alsace as a region. Altogether, this is like 15,000 hectares.
Uh-huh.
So approximately like 8 times, 9 times smaller than Bordeaux. To give you an idea.
Mm-hmm.
The very interesting part is that we are so in the northeast part of France. And even if we could think that northeast part of France is a place which is maybe a little bit colder and so on, I would say that you're not true. Because we have this big chance to have all these mountains who are protecting us around the place. We have the Vosges mountains, that's the name of the mountains on the back. And actually, it is making from the capital city of Alsace wine, which is Colmar, so further south in the vineyard, is one of the driest town of France and one of the sunniest town of France. You can compare it very easily to the average of rain that you have in Montpellier. So in border of the sea, something which is really strange because here we are very far from the sea, but the climate is really nice for that, making from the region a beautiful place to grow aromatic grape varieties.
So one thing that I think is absolutely fascinating about Alsace is that it really is like a valley, except for the fact that it doesn't have mountains on the other side. But it's quite narrow, so it's 10 miles wide, and it's 80 miles long. So it's similar to like a Napa, except for it's banked up against the Rhine River and the Vosges Mountains.
Yep.
So like Nicolas was saying, the Vosges Mountains are stopping some of the weather, the rain that's coming in. So that's why it's considerably a drier region. Yes, we do think about it as a cooler region because it is so far north. But I think what's so fascinating is how the rain levels and the dryness levels of what's going on in the area are really affecting the grapes.
Of course, that's for sure. It is really like that. And you say that it's 80 miles from north to south. Mm-hmm. So of course it's very convenient. You see in a drive to go from top north to down south, it's like 2 hours drive. So it's not a long drive. But anyway, even if it is not a long drive, there is quite a difference of climate between the south and the north. So today I'm lying because I have sun behind me. But between the south where I live and here the north where we have the winery, there is usually during the day like 2 or 3 degrees difference. So winter time, summertime, every day there is this 2 or 3 difference of temperature. So this is very interesting because of course, growing grapes in the north, growing grapes in the middle and in the south part of Alsace, even the same grape variety is not going to express the same at all. And this is what is so rich with the diversity of terroir we have in Alsace.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit more about those varying temperatures. Is climate change affecting Alsace, whether it be the north or the south, or how are you reacting to that? How are the grapes reacting?
I have to say, so there is a climate change for sure. I remember like 5 years ago, the big thematic it was more even saying global warming. Honestly, since 2 or 3 years, I'm talking more about a real climate change because I don't see a global warming. We have mainly cold summers at the moment. So, but anyway, something is happening for sure. The weather is changing for sure, and so we have to adapt everything we are making. So thinking not only on the grapes, but of course we have to react. Which grapes are we planting in which area? Because for sure, some places there will be colder, some places there will be much more sun. Also, for example, this summer was really rainy. So we are lucky because all our vineyards, we have a lot of grass on the floor and so on. But you imagine when you work a lot the soil and, or for example, if you put some pesticides that you don't have anything to retain the earth. There were some places where the earth just came down the vineyard. So that's why I was very interested also to sit here. I will show you in the end. I'm really on the rooftop of the winery, and behind me it is 25 meters down. So if you don't see me, I fall. But
let's hope not.
no. But the vineyards on my back. What is very interesting when you talk about the region of Alsace, it's green. It's really green, very green. So thinking that the way of work has also changed a lot. And you don't see like anymore soils where you don't have any grass, natural grass, which is just growing. You have a lot of places which is organic driven. Anyway, Alsace, if you consider the ratio of amount of vineyard and amount of vineyards who are organic certified, Alsace is far number one, even before Languedoc. So, so you see that also this kind of figures is helping to understand that yes, the climate is pretty unique in the region. But climate change is thrilling us, and since a few years, every year we have to adapt, find new ideas, working the soil, leave more, let more leaves on the plant, take the leaves off, and so on. So yeah, and even thinking, as I said, planting maybe in some places other grape varieties than what we had. For example, down south, some very sunny places, planting some Gewürztraminer is not a good idea anymore. The best grape in this kind of area are more around the Riesling, are more around the Pinot Blanc and so on. But yeah, we really have to adapt with nature, seeing what's going on.
So Gewürztraminer is a grape that likes a bit of a more cool climate.
No, Gewürztraminer likes the sun, likes the hot climate, but when it is getting too hot for Gewürztraminer, you are losing something I really enjoy. It is the freshness of the Gewürztraminer, all these floral notes. But yeah, when it's too hot, you are going too much in the spicy aromas, and especially also in very high level of alcohol. So in terms of balance, it is not what we are really looking for.
So go over quickly, for those who are learning, the 7 major grape varietals that Alsace is growing.
So we have Sylvaner, which is the driest one, the driest with the highest level of freshness, I would say. Then you have Pinot Blanc and Auxerrois. So this is like one grape and only, because Pinot Blanc and Auxerrois, they are like the two cousin grape varieties. Riesling, of course, one of the 4 noble grape varieties. Riesling, the driest wine we are producing, the one which has the most acidity, the most minerality also. And the Riesling average production in Alsace is 23% overall, these 7 grape varieties. So of course, one grape by itself is something with a very big importance for us. Riesling, then we have Muscat, of course, which is also one of the 4 noble grape variety. Muscat, Pinot Blanc, Pinot Gris, which is half dry, medium sweet. Gewürztraminer, and of course the one and only red grape variety, the Pinot Noir, the only red we are growing in the region.
And you also grow some Chasselas, no?
Of course, some Chasselas, but that's what you told me, the 7 grape varieties. So of course we have some Chasselas.
Yeah, but I snuck another one in there.
yeah, but I have even one more. But yeah, Chasselas is like one of the oldest grape varieties planted in Alsace. Climate very adapted to the Chasselas, and of course consider that we are very close to Switzerland. Of course, Chasselas, one of the grape varieties number 1 in Switzerland. In Alsace we call it Chasselas. In Switzerland they call it Fendant. This is making like the difference for each country. And yeah, the one grape variety we don't talk much about in Alsace is Chardonnay. But Chardonnay, we only use it. We only use it for the crémant. Because for the still wine, it is strictly forbidden to use it. So, of course, Chardonnay only for the sparkling.
Fantastic. All right, so let's talk about the wines. Unfortunately, I did not receive the still wines. So I'm going to let you talk about them.
Yeah, I know, but I was thinking even to ship it by myself when I saw how complicated it was to get these samples. But anyway, yeah, for the white wines, so we have Riesling and a Pinot Gris. I will start with the Riesling for 2 reasons. Riesling is the driest of the 2 grape varieties we are going to taste for the still wines. And also because the vineyard just behind me is exactly the vineyard where this Riesling is being grown. That's also one of the reasons why I'm sitting here. And the Riesling, so this is Riesling Grand Cru Steinklotz. So this is the name of the Grand Cru Steinklotz. So Steinklotz in English it would mean like the klotz is like a stone was been exploding, and Stein is the stone. So like it is like an explosion of stone, meaning that when you walk through this vineyard and you look at the soil, we think a lot about like the round stones which are going down the rivers and so on, which are very round. It is not the case at all in this Grand Cru. We are really on a place where the soil has been like exploding due to all this difference of temperature. Very hot during the day, very cold during the night. Same as in the desert. This big difference is like all the stones, they explode. And so you have these clots and this block of stone who are really like very, the shape is really angular. And also the place is unique because there is a lot of limestone and calc in this place. So making the Grand Cru Steinklots a place which is very, very mineral. And so, of course, this is something we are going to have in the wine. Here, when you saw the label, maybe it is vintage 2019. So 2019 also, now it's harvest of vintage 21. But for the Grand Cru, what we do, we have minimum 2 years of aging also in the cellar. Because of course we all know young Riesling, which is more about like the lemon notes, the citrus aromas, the white flower aromas, and maybe you don't have the minerality, you don't get all this expression from the terroir. And what we are really looking for also in the Grand Cru is to get the dimension of the terroir, the note of the soil. And so especially here, so Grand Cru Steinklots, if you consider all Alsace from north to south, we say it's Grand Cru #1. Okay, don't think that it is the best Grand Cru, but it's Grand Cru #1 just because it is the Grand Cru which is the more up north in Alsace. So I would say it's the coldest Grand Cru, and it's very interesting.
It's very American to call it #1.
Yeah, it is. But okay, in the north, quite a cold place, but as you see, very steep as a vineyard and very exposed to the sun. So I had to turn myself because on my right side I have the sun, which is in my eyes in the moment. But the nicest part of the Grand Cru is really on my right side with the biggest exposure, and meaning that the grapes over here, they have very good climate. They have cold nights, they have hot days, very sunny. The soil is hyper mineral, very, very mineral. So of course, in the wine, it is an explosion of minerality. You have all what you expect from a Riesling, all these citrusy notes, all these punchy aromas, and the minerality, this saltiness also that you get in the end, and you only get it after 2 or 3 years of aging. That's why, okay, we don't release it like as a young vintage.
I like that. I appreciate aged or older even Rieslings. I think that they're bright and amazing when they first are released, but I like that you're holding it back a little bit so that it's not current. You get some more development of complexity and flavors that I think is really amazing with Riesling.
When we have this young Rieslings, it's cool to have it just like by the glass on a sunny day, on a terrace, and so on. And you can just have it on a roof like me. Even for me, it's a Grand Cru on the roof.
Grand Cru on the
roof. So when I told my colleagues earlier, don't close the door of the roof. I come back in the cellar later. So they say, but what are you doing? I say, I'm going to have some Grand Cru on the roof. I say, okay, that's an idea. Why not?
Hashtag Grand Cru on the roof.
Yeah. And even today is the first day of harvest for us in Alsace.
Congratulations.
So I was in a rush, just coming over here. I was hoping that everything was okay. Okay, I tasted last week, but so I saw. But today is our first day of harvest. So from here, on my back, the vineyard, and in front of me, I even see the winery or the place where we have the presses. So thanks to you, because this is something I don't do very often.
I gave you an excuse to have Grand Cru on the roof. Anytime. Exactly. Happy to do so. Well, tell us a bit about the Pinot Gris.
Yeah, sure. So Pinot Gris, then we move to half dry, half dry category, I would say. It's not how to say. Riesling, okay, is always dry in Alsace. Even there is a regulation about that to make dry Riesling. But for the Pinot Gris, there is not like a strict regulation. You could do whatever you want, making it dry, half dry, or sweet. I would say like the average style in Alsace, the more common style is half dry. For us, I don't really like to go on something which is too sweet. So when I say half dry, I'm more thinking between 14 grams, between 10 and 14 grams, even if half dry for the French meaning, it is around 16 grams where it is happening. But okay, this is my idea to have the Pinot Gris around 10, 12 grams. And here, the Pinot Gris we are tasting is a Pinot Gris vintage 2020. So of course the last release, because the new vintage of Pinot Gris is going to be harvested. I believe in something like 2 weeks time now. We are going to make the classic Pinot Gris. So Pinot Gris, of course, we change completely the aromas from the Riesling. We are not on this fresh, zesty aromas anymore. We move more to this yellow fruit aromas, like also some apricot and pears and peach. So, but always very ripe in terms of fruit. Not something with the acidity of the apple. Something like the sweetness of even of a tarte tatin. The sweetness of the caramel in the end. That's really one of the cool things with the Pinot Gris, and even the balance. We always say, okay, the sugar, but one big thing for me is the balance, the global balance of the wine. If you have something which is like too dry and you have not a lot of aromas, okay, it doesn't go so well. So for me, it's all about the balance, especially the Pinot Gris, which is something quite full-bodied. So as it is quite full-bodied, okay, you need a good acidity also to maintain all this shape, all these aromas and so on. And of course, the sweetness. The sweetness, having something half dry is going to make like a very nice balance all together. Because of course the aromas, they support the sweetness. They really support it. And when you are tasting it, for me, it's always like the 3 levels you have in the tasting. First sip, when you take the wine, you have something, you feel it is fresh, and then suddenly, like, it's blowing completely your palate. You have all this explosion of aromas. You get a lot of the peach notes, all these apricot notes, which are very, very strong. You get a little bit of this caramel that I'm saying, especially then when it comes to the end, this sweetness of the honey, of the caramel in the end, and suddenly the freshness, this acidity, which is coming again to say you are not only on the sweet side, but suddenly you pop up again with this freshness, and to say, okay, I want to have a second glass, or I want to have the next sip, because it's fresh. Altogether, it's fresh.
And we expect that from all Alsatian wines.
We should expect that
we should
expect it from that. But Pinot Gris is very interesting. I forgot to talk about the pairings previously, but Riesling is more about like the seafood, the fresh fish, some oysters, something like that. So anything which comes from the sea is very interesting with the Riesling, because minerality and this zesty side from the Riesling is pairing well with the saltiness of the seafood. Pinot Gris is like a complete opposite. You are not going to pair it with the seafood for sure, because you have this sweetness and this acidity. I really enjoy it with some food which is a little bit hot in taste. So some Thai food, some Thai curry, it is pairing really well. I do like it with Japanese cuisine, like yakitori, like tempura, because like this greasy side of the yakitori and of the tempura is pairing well with the aromas from the Pinot Gris. But suddenly you always have this acidity, this freshness, which is like breaking a little bit the fatty side of the food. And then thinking about the cheese, it's pairing well with blue cheese, with goat cheese. When it is a little bit strong as a cheese, Pinot Gris is going to be pairing really well with it. And as I'm saying it previously, with the tarte tatin, I love tarte tatin, and I love cooking. So of course, make a tarte tatin, give it some Pinot Gris. It's really a nice pairing.
Well, one of the things, and I'm glad that you brought up the pairings, one of the things that intrigues me is in Alsace, this food and wine and hospitality. There's an amazing culture of hospitality and an invitation and to enjoy the wealth of the wine and the most amazing food pairing. So do you want to talk about that culture, not just the pairing itself, but the culture of that? And Alsace?
So for me, you see, even if I'm here or my family is in Alsace, it's a very, very long time. of course, there is this culture for the gastronomy. I don't know really where it comes from, but the only thing I know is that all the people here around, we love cooking, we love having good time in the restaurants, we like going out and have a good meal, proper food. When it comes to food, it always comes to the wine, so it is very linked both together. Gastronomy here is something with a lot of Germanic influence. So something we say that contrary to the Mediterranean cuisine, it can be a little bit heavy because we cook here a lot. I say we cook, I talk about globalization. If my wife is following us today, she will say, what is he saying? No, we don't cook like that. Okay, we cook a big mix because my fam is from the south of France, very close to Provence. Okay. So we have this kind of cooking, which is okay with the standard or with the classic of Alsace, but with something a little bit lighter from the south of France, like olive oil, and not only cooking with butter, because here, okay, during the winter time, we have like this food like the bekaofa, like the choucroute, which is, as you know, something quite heavy. Once you've been eating it, you say, maybe I don't eat for 2 or 3 days afterward. Yeah. That's the reality of the area. But okay, like that's for the classic food. But then thinking about gastronomy, of course, when you look at Alsace and the global restaurants they are, we have a lot of Michelin restaurants. Of course, in these Michelin star restaurants, you don't have like only the classic food. It is a lot of revisited and so on. But it is, yeah, the culture for gastronomy is very important. And I've been, okay, traveling in other places in France, making my studies in other places. But the only place where it always comes to food and wine, it is Alsace. A lot, you have many regions everywhere. We eat nice, we drink nice. That's for sure. But over here, it is always okay. Next Saturday, we invite somebody. We don't even think if we invite them, what are we going to cook? What is the wine we are going to drink? As a winemaker, it is even worse. We first choose the wine and then we try to cook something which is going to pair with the wine. But yeah, gastronomy, hospitality, something very important in my region. Yeah.
Well, since this is lunch with Alsace, do you have a lunch that pairs with the wines that you have?
The wine I have here.
Yeah. Did you make lunch? Are you eating? Oh no, it's 6 o'clock your time, but this is lunch with Alsace. So we still got to do food and wine pairings. So I'll show you. I made this amazing shrimp with avocado toast.
Wow! Yeah,
wow!
Sure. This looks really cool.
I used smoked paprika and chili oil. The onions are from my garden. Let's see. It's got that spicy you mentioned, Thai flavors, and so it's got this, because of the avocado, it's got this fatty richness, but it's lighter, and then it's got that kind of kick with some peppers. Serranos are growing in my garden right now, so there's a little bit of that in the avocado, and so I'm excited to try this with the wine that I have.
Yeah, this should be interesting. I'm sorry I didn't bring my meal with me because during harvest we have like a proper meal only on the Sundays. Unfortunately, during the week it is more of what we say like finger food or something quite fast. But okay. Luckily, yesterday we had the time to cook. I have a lot of tomatoes in the garden.
Yeah, so, tomato season.
I don't have it here, but I made a stuffed tomato with
tomate farce. Is that what you call it? Tomate farce.
Tomate farci. Yes,
farci.
Tomate farci, exactly. With beef inside and some herbs, a little bit of garlic and so on. So yeah, it was good. Unfortunately, during work, we don't have the right to drink at work, especially in the cellar during harvest. But
no, just on the roof.
Just on the roof, exactly. Don't tell my colleagues. Don't tell my colleagues. I even know one is looking at the moment. She's waiting for me to come back. Waiting for me to come back on the winery during this beautiful day of Pinot Noir harvest today. But yeah, I was thinking of my lunch, and the Pinot Gris would have paired so well with that. But honestly, your tartine looks really great, and I think that I'm sure you are going to get the bottles tomorrow. That's for the joke. You are going to get them tomorrow.
I might even get them this afternoon.
Yeah. But you see, I'm sure Pinot Gris could pair well, Riesling could pair well, even the Crémant afterwards could pair really well. So yeah, that's what's also interesting about Alsace. You are not only like one wine type of food. You can have also something a big diversity. You can use some wine, use another wine. So yeah, that's also an interesting part.
Well, so since you mentioned it, and it's what I actually have in my glass, let's
Yeah.
talk about the unexpected Cremant d'Alsace.
Of course, that's the one you have.
That's
I'm
the one
going
I
to
got.
take.
I got
I'm
that
going.
weeks ago.
I'm going. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it also. So after Grand Cru on the roof, I'm going to make a Crémant on the roof.
I'm on the roof.
I'm liking it. I think I'm going to start again tomorrow.
Very nice, very nice. So I kind of I prepped everybody and did an Alsace live last week with Hai Tran from Sommation, and we talked all about the Cremant, and I kind of dangled a little particle in front of them to say that there's a really interesting mentality thought from locals about Cremant d'Alsace. Do you remember what you said it was?
What did I say?
So it was this attitude about what
of course
the sparkling is and what it's not.
Exactly. So there are a lot of ways of thinking for the sparkling. I think for a very long time, which is also changing at the moment, but we were thinking of the sparkling like only a wine that you take, or only something that you are taking for aperitif, even for the dessert or for celebration, and that was it. So it was a very specific occasion, or specific aperitif. You can have it every day, but it was like before the meal. And since a few years now, there has been this thinking of, look, Crémant is not only a bottle where you put some bubbles in it and that's it. Crémant at the beginning is some wine, which even undergoes this second fermentation, say a method traditionnelle like for the champagne. So we were thinking only of the festive thing, of the party bubble and so on. But thinking of wine at the beginning, if you have something very strong in taste, or if you have something from a specific area, you can also make Crémant wine, which is going to pair very well with the food, with the meal. And that's where we came up with some new blends, something completely different from what was done before. Also thinking of the Crémant not only like a wine, but also a terroir. So producing Crémant,
right? And I think that's
very specific.
Before you go on to the terroir, because that's the point. Was you said before, people thought of Cremant as it's inaccessible in terms of price point. You know, it is for a celebration, but more to the point that there was this attitude that people should be drinking Cremant d'Alsace that tastes the same year in and year out and not change. And now the thinking is the opposite. So go ahead about that.
The thinking is slightly changing, because of course when you think about some bubbles, about a strong brand, it can be a brand of Crémant or a brand of champagne or whatever. But when you think about these bubbles, you say, look, I'm going to buy the bottle because I'm very confident that each time I take it, it is going to be exactly the same from one year to the other, from one bottle to the other. Mm-hmm. And there is also a strong attach to the brand once you are into that. If you like one specific bubble, maybe you are going to buy this specific bubble because on aperitif you like it, or because on dessert you like it, and so on. Mm-hmm. But at one stage you don't have the excitement anymore of the thing, because it's very linear. The quality is just straight. Okay, we need this kind of bubbles. We need to be confident in a brand. We need to be satisfied in what we are drinking. But we want also sometimes to take some risk and to say, look, if you come with a very beautiful place, with a very beautiful soil, a beautiful terroir, why not try to make not only a single vineyard, but choose some very specific area in terms of vineyard, specific grapes, blend them all together, get a Crémant with higher complexity, higher quality also, of course, in the end. And you are going to make a Crémant which is much more complex. You are going to be so satisfied with aperitif, but suddenly in your mind, you are going to say, look, this is tasting really good. Why not bringing it on the table? and then you start to pair it with some food, and when you pair it with the food, you see that it is working well. You are getting even more confident in this like special cuvée of these little terroir places, and so you want to go in more premium qualities, taste even some specific créments, longer aging, 1 year, 2 years. 1 year is normal, 2 years aging, 3 year aging. Today we go up to 60 months for us for the aging, so we have like very long agings. We also have like specific créments coming from one specific vineyard, but of course the quantities there would be much more limited, much smaller. And so the customers today, they are really coming into this kind of crément also, saying, look, they are not bored. They still continue like to buy the classic style, but they find something new, which is like, wow, it's completely different. It is so interesting. It can totally replace wine, still wine, when you put it on the table during a meal. And believe me, even when I invite my friends and I'm saying to make it a bit different, we are going to make all the crément, all the dinner, sorry, only with crément. The first idea, they say, wow, only crément, okay, why not try it? And once you are finished with the meal, and you see that the pairings, they work so well, you are like so satisfied, and you want also to share it with other friends and so on. So there is a big thinking, a big change, I would say, about how to drink it, not only like the party bubbles, but also like this very specific wine that you can also have with some gastronomic food, for sure.
For sure. So tell us the nitty-gritty details of this particular Crément d'Alsace.
So here, Crément Helfrich is a Crément. First, it's not a single grape variety. It is a blend of different grape varieties. So basically here, we use the two cousin grape varieties, so Pinot Blanc and Auxerrois, as the base for the blend. Then we also use some Pinot Noir in the blend and some Chardonnay. So more or less 4 different grape varieties. Okay. Pinot Noir is always going to bring like this structure, this deepness in the aromas. Chardonnay, all this vivacity, this citrusy notes, this zesty side, and so on. And also about the aging, it is a crément here. This crément is minimum 2 years of aging. So thinking about that, minimum 2 years. I was saying minimum is 1 year. Here for this one is minimum 2 years.
But that's your internal structure. That's not because of the laws.
Exactly. No. The basic regulation is 1 year. And here for this one, we have this own way of thinking is minimum 2 years. And so here at the moment, this one before the disgorging, the one you have and the one we sell is 30 months of aging. So that's 2.5 years of aging, which is really interesting. Because of course the aromas, they are not only like the young aromas about all the fresh fruit, but you also have all these secondary aromas on the wine. And the structure of the bubble is also very different. You don't have like the explosive bubbles. You have a lot of finesse in the bubbles.
Yeah, it's very elegant, very delicate. Even when I took the cork off the bottle, it didn't get this like, explosive pop. It was very subtle. It's very subtle indeed.
Exactly, and that's the right word. We use exactly the same. It's very settled. So meaning that the bubbles, they are very integrated into the wine. You don't have like what I say, when you open it, you don't like have the bubbles, they want to escape the bottle. It stays in the wine. There is a lot of finesse. It is really into the wine. So of course this is a selection of all our best vineyards who are not too young, not too old. So that's average 25, 30 years old for the vineyard. They don't crop like a young vineyard, so they crop less. But you have the expression in the wine. It's much more powerful than a young vineyard. So this kind of crément, we really thought about it at the beginning, not only to have it for aperitif, but also to bring it like the full meal at the moment.
Well, I think that works perfectly for lunch with Alsace. So we're kind of pushing the time a little bit here. I've really enjoyed the time, and I thank you very much for chatting with us.
No, it was
Is there
cool.
anything else that you want to mention about Alsace? Or I mean, we did so much with food and wine pairings. Or do you want to
Uh,
mention about Helfrich or anything like that?
no, I'm fine, but I can continue to talk as long as you want. I can go until dinner with Alsace for those who want to stay connected. But no,
We're gonna
it
start.
was really interesting and nice to have this time with you.
Fantastic. Yes. Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
no, you're welcome. You're welcome. It was really
So
nice. Thanks.
I hope everyone's having a fantastic week and a start of their week, and I hope everyone had a fantastic lunch. For those of you that are, it's time for lunch. If you don't, have a great lunch when you get there. Make sure that you are having and enjoying a delicious glass of Alsatian wine, whether it be still or Cremant d'Alsace. Please be sure to watch Lunch with Alsace again next month at noon. And I don't know who's going to be on it, but wait and see. But also make sure you take some time to check out Alsace Rocks. It's a brand new website, ALSACEROCKS.com. And follow at Drink Alsace on Instagram for tons of more information. Thank you so much for everyone for joining. Thank you, Nicolas. And
You're welcome.
best of luck to you with harvest. Have a great time and enjoy
Thanks.
more Grand Cru on the roof.
Grand Cru on the roof, exactly. And as you say, drink Alsace. Drink
Drink
Alsace.
Alsace,
Yeah, exactly.
yes.
Thanks, Carrie.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.